This is a world gone mad. This is a world gone mad. Mad, 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 mad.
This is A World Gone Mad. I'm Jeff Allen Wolfe. Welcome to the Friday edition, the part of the week where later in my podcast I share with you the stories that make you pause mid-coffee and say, what planet are we living on? I call it News from the Edge of Sanity. I try to bring you a little laughter before you head into your weekend. Okay, this is going to be a shorter episode today because Natasha and I are finally going to celebrate our anniversary. Our 25th anniversary. She hasn't killed me yet. We couldn't do it in the last 2 weeks, so today we're going to celebrate. All right, first let's talk about the real news stories from the last 48 hours, which sometimes rival the bizarre ones. Okay, here we go. The Great Distraction. I want to talk about what I call the Great Distraction. Major things are happening in this country right now, and they are being buried under noise. You are being distracted away and diverted from the real dangers by a flood of stories that feel urgent, but are designed to pull your eyes elsewhere. Now, these are some of the stories I'm talking about that are part of the Great Distraction. The NBA gambling story that just broke. The arraignment of New York Attorney General Letitia James. Trump blaming Democrats for the shutdown. Trump saying Portland is burning to the ground. And now House Republicans launching an investigation into President Biden's use of the auto pen to sign documents. I'll bet some of you didn't know about this one, did you? These are not accidents. They are tools. They are smoke screens. They are part of the Great Distraction. Because while the cameras chase those stories, the real stories, the ones that matter, are being buried. The destruction of the East Wing. The Social Security raise for all of us next year with a bullshit minuscule amount that can't even be seen with a microscope. And the rapid expansion of Trump's power, his tightening grip on control spreading behind the chaos. You ever notice how louder the headlines get? The quieter the truth gets? The Republicans and Trump are like a magician. They use what's known as misdirection. Don't look at this hand. Look at the other hand, while the first hand you're not supposed to look at is where the trick is. This week is not just misdirection. It's demolition wrapped in spectacle. While America scrolls, debates, and yells at each other over trivia, the White House, the literal symbol of our government, is being torn down and rebuilt to fit the ego of one man. The East Wing, the section tied to the First Lady's office and key administrative staff, gutted. Why? Because Donald J. Trump wants a bigger ballroom, a grander stage, a palace hall inside what used to be the People's House. Not for diplomacy, not for history, for power. That's not renovation. That's the king speaking loud and clear. It's mine. Fuck you. You can't do anything about it. And while that happens in plain sight, the distraction machine spins like a carnival wheel. The NBA gambling probe explodes across every feed. Players, coaches, names, drama, scandal. It's real. It's a major scandal. But it's also perfectly timed. Because the Republicans and Trump are trying to do the virtual version of misdirection. Keeping the public's focus on basketball, scandal, and noise while hiding what's being buried in those Epstein files still and how deep the connections really run. Some of us get addicted to the outrage, the next click, the next twist, and never see the larger pattern of what's quietly being cemented into place. A lot of us see the distractions for what they are. Then comes the arraignment of Letitia James. Every network, every outlet, every post locked in on courtroom doors and motorcades. It's not about justice. It's about the show, the cameras, the spectacle, the anticipation. It's a wall of flashing lights built to blind you from the real story. While everyone's watching who walks in and out of that courtroom, the real power grab keeps advancing behind the curtain. The great distraction and the shutdown. Let's talk about the shutdown. Trump is blaming Democrats for the government being closed, turning a real crisis into another political weapon. The real underlying story is health care. The Republicans don't want to talk about it. They don't want to debate it. And they don't want to fix it. So instead, they shift the blame, create chaos, and distract the country by pointing fingers at Democrats for a problem they themselves engineered. It's the distraction inside the distraction, meant to shift blame, fuel anger, and drown out what's really happening inside the White House, while millions of workers go without pay. We're living in a country that can't keep its lights on, but can somehow fund a ballroom for the new emperor. Then there's Trump saying, absurd, saying this. Portland is burning to the ground. That's a distraction. Trump said, you have agitators, insurrectionists. Turn on your television. Look at your television. The governor, the mayor, the politicians are petrified for their lives, Donald goes on. Donald selling fear, not facts, to justify invoking the Insurrection Act and expanding his power under the banner of law and order. He paints a picture of a nation on fire, so he could stand there holding the hose, even if he's the one who lit the match. The great distraction. And the middle of it all, the cost of living increase quietly lands at 2.8%. 2.8. That's the government's version of good news. Except Medicare Part B is going up again, swallowing most of that so-called raise from the COLA hike to Social Security. For millions of seniors, it means less food, less heat, less medicine. But no one's covering that story because it's not flashy enough for clicks. A very important major story for 72 million plus in America, not being covered because of the great distraction. That's the play. While we're staring at the circus, they're rebuilding the tent. While we're arguing over the sideshow, they're locking in the main act. And by the time the confetti clears, the throne room is finished, and the country doesn't even realize the stage has changed. Because distraction isn't just noise. It's the soundtrack of control. And every time we take the bait, every time we chase the headline instead of the hammer, we lose another piece of what used to be ours. The great distraction. The bullshit stories that may be important within their own circle, but pull us away from the real dangers that are happening. The real stories that the Republicans and Trump don't want you to focus on. It's okay to look at those stories, find out about those stories, but don't let them pull you away from the real things that are going on that affect all of us daily. Don't fall for the great distraction, because if you do, game over. We all lose. Your comments, your thoughts? Do you care? wolfpacktalks@gmail.com. Use it. Send me an email. Take a moment. Okay, it's time for me to shift gears. Go to a good distraction. News from the edge of sanity. Those weird, wild stories that make your jaw drop and your eyes roll, maybe throw in a chuckle or two. The Great Spanish Heist. Every city has its thieves. Some steal jewelry, some steal art, some steal cars. But in Madrid, Spain, a criminal crew decided to specialize in something far more strange. For months, bar and cafe owners across central Spain woke up to the same strange scene. Their outdoor terraces were empty. Not vandalized, not broken into, just gone. The tables still stood there like lonely islands, but every single chair had vanished. At first, police in Madrid thought it was random. Maybe pranksters, maybe other bar cafe rivalries. But the calls kept coming in: a dozen thefts, then 24. Whole patios stripped bare overnight. No alarms, no fingerprints, just the sound of metal scraping quietly into the night. When investigators finally caught a break, what they found sounded like something out of Ocean's 11, the Wicker edition. 7 suspects, rental vans, night runs across Madrid and nearby towns, a stolen inventory of more than 1,100 cafe chairs, all tracked to warehouses and flea markets where they were being sold off like discount furniture. The value of that haul, about $70,000. Not bad for a few weeks of midnight shopping. Police called it one of the strangest organized theft operations they've ever seen. Locals now call it the Great Spanish Chair Heist. Bar owners are now locking up their terraces like jewelry stores. Some chain the chairs together. Others take them inside at night, guarding them like gold. And now, in a twist only fitting for 2025, police may need to ask citizens to report any suspicious gatherings of matching furniture. So, citizens of Spain, if you see 8 identical cafe chairs huddled together in a back alley, don't approach. Call the authorities. And if any of you, the Wolfpack listeners, happen to be sitting in a Madrid cafe or bar late at night, maybe don't stand up at all. Someone might just steal the seat from under you. Okay, traveling over to Michigan. It's Halloween in Lansing. Every October, Lansing, Michigan looks like a postcard for fall. The leaves turn gold. The air smells like wood smoke. And in Old Town, people start hanging cobwebs in shop windows. Then one weekend, the streets close, the bowls of treats come out, and the parade begins. At first it looks normal enough. Kids in capes, parents holding coffee, shopkeepers leaning in their doorways watching the crowd. Then you notice something odd. The superheroes are shedding. The princesses are panting. And the traffic noise is drowned out by the sound of barking. It is the city's annual Halloween parade, a costume walk that fills the Old Town Arts District with dogs of every shape and size. The event is run by Prius Pets, a local shop that keeps the number of entries at 200. Though you would never guess it from the noise, the dogs stop at restaurants, gift shops, even a jewelry store, collecting their treats and admiration. There's a dachshund dressed as a dragon, a husky in a tutu, and one golden retriever wearing a taco shell that looks like it might collapse under the lettuce. But the star of the night is a bulldog who somehow manages to outshine them all. He's wearing a white jumpsuit, cape, sunglasses. Elvis Presley, reincarnated in fur and drool. The king of rock and roll, reborn in Michigan. Crowds line up for photos. People clap and laugh. And somewhere in the middle of it all, that bulldog just sits there, soaking in like he has played bigger venues. By the time the parade ends, the streets are littered with dog treats, feathers, and glitter. The humans look tired. The dogs look proud. And in a few hours in Lansing, the strangest part of Halloween is not the costumes or the chaos, it's that the king still draws a crowd. And that, Wolfpack listeners, are your news from the edge of sanity, proving once again normalcy took the entire early retirement package. All right, let's hear from you. I keep yelling it, I keep screaming it, I keep slamming my face into a brick wall. wolfpacktalks@gmail.com or 833-399-9653 24/7 toll-free voicemail box. I'm here. Where are you? This is A World Gone Mad. I'm Jeff Allen Wolf. I will be back Monday. Until then, Wolfpack listeners, remain skeptical, keep focused, and most of all, stay hopeful.